Greetings, Otaku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you yet again another Legend of Korra episode review right here on Otaku Assemble! Weekly. As always, I'm here to bring you the latest in this week's Legend of Korra episode review, and this is Season 1, Episode 9, entitled Out of the Past. Now, in this week's episode, we pick up right where last week's episode left off after Tarlok defeated Korra and abducted her. So in this week's episode, news has gotten out that Korra has gone missing, and of course Tarlok has covered it up with the story that Equalist attacked City Hall, and both he and Korra teamed up to try and oppose them, but they ended up kidnapping Korra. So, you know, he blamed the whole thing on the Equalist. Of course, we know we have reason to question that, and this leads Lin Beifong comes back into action and breaks out the rest of the new Team Avatar, and along with Tenzin, they track down one of the Equalist underground hideouts, or headquarters if you will, and that's when they discover that in fact Korra is not in their custody. Then of course they find out that Tarlok was the one responsible for it all, and they managed to rescue her, or correction, Korra rescued herself. Korra rescued herself, which I will get into in a moment. Another major part of this week's episode, which is pretty much the whole where the title comes from, Out of the Past, is that Korra has managed to recall the events that, the flashbacks that Korra's been getting, flashes of. She's been able to actually meditate and go back and actually recall those events. And we learned what all happened. Apparently, Yukon, who was a major criminal at the time, who we know, apparently there was some big hoopla that happened years ago with him, and the conflict included Aang, Toph, and Sokka. What happened, what we discover is that Yukon was actually an underground crime boss. I would probably even go as far as to say he was probably the founder of the Triple Threat Triad. They didn't say that. This is my guess, that since he was such a big crime boss, I'm thinking it's like he was probably the one who started the Triple Threat Triad. But we find out that apparently he rose to power through bloodbending, and that he has the ability to bloodbend without the full moon. Not only that, but he has the ability to bloodbend multiple people at once, which is something else that we haven't that we haven't seen before. Because in the original series, whenever we saw bloodbending, it was usually only with one or maybe two people, but Yukon could do multiple people at once. And of course, the whole thing was that it's against the law. Of course, it's against the law to do that, and Yukon had been able to beat the case multiple times. It wasn't until that final case when they were actually able to prosecute him and convict him. And of course he fought back, and this led Aang to actually take away his ability to bend, right? So then we discover that Tarlok has the same ability because he's Yukon's son. Which, I want to go ahead and I want to make this comment because I know one of my viewers commented and said that they thought that Tarlok was Yukon's son. Which, now that we, like as I was watching the episode, I was able to make that assessment, but I was hoping that wasn't the case. And hear me out. The reason why I was hoping that Tarlok wasn't Yukon's son is because that whole sins of the father, sins of the son narrative archetype, that's been done to death. And while I actually enjoy, I like those narratives. I like those stories where it's the whole, the son kind of inheriting the father's will or anything like that, or even just a matter of just falling either unintentionally or indirectly falling into his footsteps, or it could even be something along the lines of a pre-manifest destiny type bit. Whatever the circumstances around it, I like those type of stories. The reason why I didn't want it with Tarlok is because I felt like, I don't know, I felt like it was too cliche. I felt like it was too easy. Like, I would have much rather been intrigued if, say, Yukon was Tarlok's teacher, like his mentor. That I would have been a little bit more interested in, but the fact that it was his father, I'm like, and I'm not saying that it's necessarily bad. I just think it could have been done better. I mean, hell, you could have done it to where maybe, like I said, the whole mentor thing I would have been interested in. Hell, you could have had it out to where it could have been something like maybe Yukon used that money that he earned as the underground crime boss to fund Tarlok's early political career. You could have had it something like that. Anything like that. The whole father-son thing I felt was too easy. It's too easy to okay, yeah, we're just gonna make it his son. That's too easy, man. Come on, think outside the box. Get a little bit more creative with that. But man, what I did not expect was fucking Amon tracked down Tarlok and took away his bending. Like, I did not expect Amon to fight, especially since we don't know where Tarlok took Korra. Like, we don't know if that's Tarlok's house. We don't know if that's one of his estates. We don't know if that's an abandoned house. We don't know where that was. And fucking Amon tracked down Tarlok and took that motherfucker out. I was like, damn. Oh, man. And then fucking Tarlok was like, he was fucking bloodbending all of the chi blockers, and Amon was resisting it. And I was just watching this shit like, oh my god, what the fuck is Amon? Like, seriously, he was getting, hey, don't get it twisted, he was getting bloodbended because you could see like some of his limbs were turning, but he was just, I was like, oh my god. I got a quick question. Would you all judge me if I started rooting for Amon? I'm just, cause he's bad fucking ass, man. Like, damn. And hang on a minute. Just so we don't get anything twisted, I was rooting for Amon against Tarlok, cause Tarlok is a fucking asshole, and he is the embodiment of everything that Amon is fighting against. You know? I mean, when you're talking about the conflict between Amon and Tarlok, Amon's justified. And, I mean, he's actually the good guy. But one thing about Tarlok I do want to talk about, because you all will remember, I've been speculating that Tarlok may be in leagues with Amon, right? Now I see what Tarlok was actually doing. Tarlok was doing what I thought he was doing, which was using his stance against the Equalist movement to consolidate his power within Republic City. That's what I speculated, and that still stands. Whereas before I thought Tarlok was working with Amon in order to bring that about. Now I see that Tarlok has just been using the Equalists in order to do that. It's not the same thing. You know, before I was thinking it was some type of like mutual agreement between the two. But now I see that he's just using them in order to gain more power for himself. In many ways, the same way that he was using Korra when he had her in the task force to gain more power for himself. But also remember, when he was recruiting Korra for the task force, he was also, not only was he using Korra, but he was kind of pitting her against Tenzin in a way. Once again, to claim more power for himself. So that's what Tarlok was really doing. And now Tarlok doesn't have any power because word is out that he abducted Korra, word is out that he's a bloodbender, and he lost his ability to bend. So number one, he lost his bending, but number two, he also lost all his political power. So yeah, Tarlok's done. Tarlok's done. He's done. And I guess now everything is just, I guess, building up for the season 1 finale, because we actually saw the preview that what they're going to do is they're going to go ahead and put the finale in an hour-long special, which I think that's smart. You know, kind of show it like a movie. I think it's really cool. But I guess now we are just building up for the final showdown. But I'll tell you what, the whole like now that we actually know what happened with the whole Yukon storyline, what happened with that whole situation, I'm starting to suspect that maybe Amon is Yukon. And wait a minute. Hear me out. The reason why I'm starting to suspect that is because the thing with the whole, you know, the whole sins of the father, sins of the son type bit that I talked about earlier, you got to remember, the one central overarching theme in Legend of Korra is the theme of succession. The idea that all of these characters, or at least the big ones, that, you know, these are the children of the characters from the first series. So this whole following in the footsteps bit, this whole succession bit that you have with Tenzin and Aang, with Lin, Toph and Aang, with Korra and Aang, with hell, this even kind of deals with Asami and Hiroshi. Their whole little father-daughter bit. The thing with Tarlok and Yukon, who is his father. You see what I'm saying? This is a centralized theme that has been reoccurring throughout the entire series. What I'm saying is this. I suspect that Amon may be Yukon, and granted, my suspicion isn't based on much evidence, except that I feel like the flashes that Korra was getting. Remember, Korra said, she was like, Aang, you were trying to warn me about Tarlok, not about Amon. Well, that's not the case, because when did she start getting those flashes? Whenever she was, when she first confronted Amon. And when did she start getting those flashes again? Whenever she was around Amon. Amon having the ability to bring those flashes about in her, that the idea that Aang was warning her about Tarlok, why would he be warning her about Tarlok if Tarlok wasn't even around? No, those flashes were brought on by Amon. I think Aang was warning her about Amon. So that whole thing that, okay, hey, this is who Amon really is. That makes sense to me. Consider this also. I'm gonna take a drink. Consider this also. Hang on a minute. Gather my thoughts. Okay. Consider this. Yukon was a bloodbender, right? He was a waterbender, he was a bloodbender. He used the most extreme form of bending against other people. You know, when you talk about a bender's ability to oppress other people, it doesn't get much worse than bloodbending, because you are literally controlling the water within another human's body, right? He used that to bully other people and to climb the power in the criminal underworld, right? Then he lost that because Aang took it from him, correct? Would it be completely irrational and unreasonable to consider that Amon could be Yukon on the idea that remember, Amon is about having everyone on equal footing. He is against benders opposing normal people, right? Would it be possible that that Yukon having his bending taken away from him would put him in the position to where he no longer has power. And you're talking about a character who always had power. He lost that power, and because he lost that power, he became victim to some of the same injustice acts that he committed against other people. That change in perspective, that can change a whole person's mindset. That change in circumstance. Remember, it's the whole. It goes back to the whole thing about a bully who is bullied. You know, you have a bully who bullies another kid, and then all of a sudden that bully gets bullied. Now he's in the position of the person that he was once bullying, right? That can change someone's whole mindset. I mean, hell, just speaking from personal experience, in my youth, I've been on both ends of bullying. I've been the bully, and I've bullied. I've been bullied, and I have bullied others, which is why I'm firmly against bullying, because I found myself bullying other people, and I didn't like that about myself because that happened to me once. That mindset, I think, or don't you think that would be enough justification for Yukon to become a Mon in the first place? Think about it. Or, if nothing else, you might even think about it like this. Just the fact that Aang was able to take away his bending, that in itself could be the catalyst for his whole thing. It's like, well, I was once a bender, and then this other bender took that away from me. So now, so now that I'm normal, now I'm at the mercy of all the other benders. So fuck it, let's even the playing field. Do you see what I'm saying? It's all about power. It's about having power and losing power, and then being in the position of having no power, seeking out a way to level the playing field so that you can once again have power. Do you see what I'm saying? That's another overarching theme in this entire series. It's the play on power, and how people use it and how it affects others. How Amon views power, how Tarlok views power, how Tenzin views power, how Korra views power, how Lin views power. It's how the fucking the Wolfbats view power. That's what it's all about. Am I making sense, or am I just rambling? Feel free to let me know in the comments below if y'all think I'm stretching with this. Like I said, there's not much evidence, but this is all speculation. This is all my own personal speculations that I'm just sharing with you all. Because, I mean, for fuck's sake, you guys have been speculating all goddamn season. Okay, let me speculate for once. Can I speculate for once? I mean, I know I've been speculating, but can I speculate for a bit? Is that too much to ask? So, anywho, all in all, though, good episode, really good episode. I love the flashbacks. I absolutely love the flashbacks. Oh, I also want to make this comment. Okay, the exchange between Aang and Toph when she called him Twinkle Toes, and he was like, Toph, I'm a 40-year-old man. Can we get past the nicknames? And she's like, nah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Last time I checked, wasn't Toph the same age as Aang? In Avatar: The Last Airbender, they were both 12 years old. Then, of course, we know about Aang being 112. I'm not counting that 100 years. I'm counting Aang's actual age. He was 12. So was Toph, right? So that means that Toph was 40 when Aang was 40, right? Toph looked pretty damn good for a 40-year-old, don't you think? And I mean, hell, even Lin's character design looks pretty damn good. Them Bayfongs must have good fucking genes. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Oh, and I like seeing, Sokka. That's my man. I love seeing Sokka in this episode. Which you know what's funny though? I like Sokka's, older Sokka's design. I see a lot of Hakoda's original character design in grown-up Sokka, which I like. I dug. I mean, I'm not too crazy about him keeping the whole what did he call it? It's the the Warriors wolf tail. I wasn't crazy about Sokka keeping the whole Warriors wolf tail. I felt he's too old for that haircut. But like I said, I liked his character design because he looks like Hakoda, which I like. And then of course Aang. I mean, Aang looked kind of badass with his beard, you know. You know what's weird? Aang, like when Aang's angry face looked a lot like Roku, which kind of tripped me out. I was like, ooh, he looks a lot like Roku when he got angry like that. It's kind of weird. Anywho, but I'm not gonna make this video any much longer. I applaud you all for sitting through this as long as you all have. Anyway, I want to thank you all for joining me again this week. And like I said, in the comments below, let me know what you thought of this week's episode. By all means, feel free to speculate. I mean, the speculation gates are wide open at this point. And let me know what you guys expect to happen by season's end, because we only got 3 episodes left. So let me know what you guys think. Anywho, that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I'm signing off, and until next time, peace.